The afternoon sun cast golden rays through the massive glass windows of Monroe & Associates, a prestigious real estate agency in Beverly Hills. The air smelled of expensive coffee and polished wood, and the soft hum of hushed negotiations filled the space. Behind a sleek, mahogany desk sat Vanessa Monroe, a seasoned real estate agent with a reputation for handling only the wealthiest clients. Dressed in a tailored navy suit and designer heels, she exuded confidence, flipping through a portfolio of exclusive listings for multi-million-dollar mansions. The door chime rang, signaling a new visitor. Vanessa looked up, expecting to see one of her regular high-profile clients. Instead, her expression shifted to mild irritation as a man in a worn-out black blazer, faded jeans, and scuffed boots walked in. His hair was slightly unkempt, and he carried himself with an easygoing yet quiet confidence. She raised an eyebrow. "Can I help you?" Her tone was polite but clipped, carrying the weight of someone used to filtering out unqualified buyers before wasting her time. The man offered a warm smile. "Yeah, I'm looking to buy a house. Something private and quiet." Vanessa barely concealed a scoff. "Sir, our listings start at $5 million. She gave him a slow once-over, doubt creeping into her expression. "Are you sure this is the right place for you?" There was no arrogance in the man's demeanor, just calm patience. "That won't be a problem," he said simply. Vanessa crossed her arms. "We require proof of funds before showing any properties." Most buyers, especially ones who weren't serious, would feel embarrassed or flustered at this point. But the man remained completely unfazed. He casually pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward her. Vanessa's heart nearly stopped as her eyes landed on the staggering number displayed. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Her throat went dry. It wasn't just the wealth, it was who he was. Keanu Reeves, the Hollywood legend, the actor known for his blockbuster films, acts of kindness, and humble nature. And she had just treated him like some nobody off the street. Her face drained of color as she realized the massive mistake she had just made. Vanessa's throat tightened as she stared at the phone screen, her eyes flicking between the undeniable proof of wealth and the calm, unreadable expression on Keanu Reeves' face. Her mind raced. How could she have not recognized him? Heat flushed her cheeks as she straightened her posture, forcing a nervous chuckle. "Oh, Mr. Reeves, I didn't realize. Welcome to Monroe & Associates. It's truly an honor." Keanu tilted his head slightly, his lips curving into a small, knowing smile. "Is that so?" he asked, his voice even. Vanessa swallowed hard. The confidence she carried moments ago was slipping fast. She had brushed him off, judged him by his appearance, and assumed he wasn't worth her time. Now, the weight of that mistake bore down on her like an anchor. Determined to fix her blunder, she hurriedly grabbed a pristine leather-bound portfolio from her desk and flipped through the listings. "We have some incredible properties that would be perfect for someone like you. Exclusive, luxurious, highly private, the best in Beverly Hills." Keanu didn't move. He simply watched her, his sharp gaze making her squirm. After a pause, he finally spoke. "Tell me, Vanessa, what made you assume I couldn't afford a house here?" Vanessa stammered. "Oh, I didn't mean. Was it the way I dressed?" Keanu continued, his voice calm but firm. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Keanu leaned slightly forward, resting his hands on the counter. "You meet people every day, Vanessa. People looking for homes, searching for something meaningful. But you judged me before I even spoke." Vanessa clenched her jaw, feeling exposed, embarrassed, ashamed. Keanu sighed, his expression softening. "You know, wealth isn't always flashy. The richest people aren't always the loudest in the room." He gave her a knowing look. "And kindness, that should never depend on someone's bank account." Silence hung between them. Vanessa's shoulders sagged. She had made a terrible first impression. But then, to her surprise, Keanu offered her a gentle smile. "Show me the listings anyway." Vanessa blinked, relief flooding her chest. She nodded quickly, flipping open the portfolio with a newfound humility she hadn't felt in years. Vanessa fumbled with the leather-bound portfolio, flipping through the listings with a nervous energy she rarely experienced. She prided herself on being poised, in control, yet here she was, flustered in front of Keanu Reeves. She cleared her throat. "All right, Mr. Reeves, I have several properties that fit your request for privacy and exclusivity. This first one is a 10,000 square foot modern estate in the hills, with... Keanu lifted a hand, signaling her to stop. Before we go into details, let me ask you something. Vanessa froze. Of course. Keanu leaned slightly against the desk, his expression thoughtful. Have you ever judged someone incorrectly before? Made an assumption about them based on appearance? Vanessa's fingers tightened around the portfolio. She wanted to lie. Wanted to say she treated everyone with equal respect. But deep down, she knew that wasn't true. She sighed, lowering her gaze. Honestly, yes. It's part of the industry, I suppose. Keanu nodded. And do you ever wonder what you might have missed because of it? That question hit her harder than she expected. She had spent years in luxury real estate, catering to the elite, brushing off those she deemed unworthy of her time. But how many opportunities, or even meaningful connections, had she overlooked because of her own prejudice? Keanu smiled gently. The most important things in life aren't always the things you can see. Vanessa swallowed hard. She had spent her career judging people by their cars, their clothes, their watches. Yet here was a man, worth hundreds of millions, standing before her in worn-out boots, teaching her a lesson in humility. She took a deep breath and straightened her posture. Mr. Reeves, I apologize for my earlier behavior. It was unprofessional and unfair. Keanu chuckled softly. Apology accepted. She nodded, grateful. Now, would you like to see some houses? Keanu grinned. Lead the way. As Vanessa gathered the listings, she realized this was more than just a sale. It was a turning point. A lesson she wouldn't forget. Vanessa led Keanu through the grand entrance of the first luxury home, her heels clicking against the polished marble floor. The estate was magnificent, a masterpiece of modern architecture, with floor-to-ceiling windows, an infinity pool overlooking the city, and handcrafted details that screamed wealth. She gestured toward the expansive living room. This property sits on 5 acres, complete with a private theater, wine cellar, and a state-of-the-art security system. Keanu walked slowly through the space, his hands in his pockets, taking in the surroundings with quiet interest. Vanessa, eager to impress, continued. The master suite alone is over 2,000 square feet, with dual walk-in closets and a spa-style bathroom. Keanu nodded but remained thoughtful. Instead of being dazzled by the extravagance, he seemed distant. Reflective. Vanessa furrowed her brows. Not what you're looking for. Keanu sighed, a small smile forming on his lips. It's beautiful. But, tell me, Vanessa, why do people chase after things like this? She hesitated. Well, it's about status, comfort, security. Keanu turned to her, his expression kind yet curious. Do you believe that? Vanessa shifted uncomfortably. She had built her entire career selling luxury, convincing people that happiness could be found in square footage and imported marble. But something about the way Keanu spoke made her question her own words. She exhaled. I think people want to feel like they've made it, that they've worked hard enough to deserve something extraordinary. Keanu nodded, his gaze drifting toward the view. I used to think that too. But I've met some of the richest people in the world, and some of the loneliest. His words lingered in the air. Vanessa crossed her arms, thoughtful. So, what do you want in a home? Keanu smiled. Somewhere peaceful, somewhere real, not just a house, but a place that feels like home. For the first time in years, Vanessa saw her job differently. It wasn't just about selling luxury, it was about helping people find something meaningful. She nodded, a newfound respect growing for the man in front of her. I think I know the perfect place. Keanu grinned. Let's go see it. Vanessa drove Keanu to another property, this one far removed from the glitz and glamour of the city. The home sat on a quiet hillside, surrounded by trees, with a long gravel driveway leading up to a charming yet modest estate, a stark contrast to the ultra-modern mansions they had toured earlier. As she parked, she glanced at Keanu, unsure of how he would react. This one is different, she admitted. Less about luxury, more about comfort. Keanu stepped out, taking a deep breath of the fresh mountain air. He didn't need to say anything, his relaxed posture spoke volumes. Vanessa followed him inside. The home was warm and inviting, with exposed wooden beams, a stone fireplace, and large windows that bathed the rooms in golden sunlight. The scent of aged wood and earthiness filled the space. Keanu ran his fingers along the rustic wooden table in the kitchen, smiling to himself. "This reminds me of my childhood," he murmured. Vanessa tilted her head. "In what way?" Keanu's eyes softened. "I grew up moving a lot. We didn't have much, but there was a time, a place, that felt like home. It wasn't big or fancy, but it had warmth." Vanessa found herself listening differently now, not as a salesperson, but as someone trying to understand. For the first time, she saw real estate not as a business transaction, but as something deeply personal. She walked over to the large window overlooking a small lake in the distance. "I think this place has that warmth," she said quietly. Keanu turned to her, nodding. "It does." A comfortable silence settled between them before Vanessa finally asked, "So, is this the one?" Keanu exhaled, then smiled. "Yeah, I think it is." For the first time in her career, Vanessa didn't feel proud because she had sold a house. She felt proud because she had helped someone find a home. A real home. And in doing so, she had found something too: perspective.